So in the first 6 steps, Buddha was teaching us how can we let go of unwholesome aspect of ourselves, and then whatever is left over is wholesome. And in the seventh step, he was teaching us how can we establish our awareness in our mind and body and understand its nature, right? And the eighth step is called Samma Samadhi, right concentration. Here Buddha says it's more like a fruit of our practice, right? It says it's more like if we practice properly all the 7 steps, these are the stages we will go through. And Buddha also referred them as a nirvana, right? These are the stages of nirvana. This is where Buddha wants us to take, and this is where the path takes us. Okay, so Buddha says there are 4 levels of samadhi that you will go through. They are generally referred as the 4 jhanas, right? And they are considered very advanced topic, but we can at least understand them intellectually to see where the path takes us and what Buddha meant by nirvana, right? Okay, so the first jhana is Buddha says when the impurities of the mind or when the unwholesome aspect of the mind is removed and the craving is removed, then the person is eligible for the first stage of jhana, the first jhana, right? And these are the properties of the first jhana, right? And they arise from the detachment, right? So when person is detached from unwholesome activities and craving, he can enter into the first jhana, right? Okay, so what is the first jhana? So in the first jhana, there is a meditation object. For example, it could be the breath, it could be the sensation in the body. There is a meditation object, and the person stays with the meditation object for prolonged period of time. So his mind is not wavering and wandering here and there because there are no impurities in the mind, right? So person has a meditation object and a prolonged concentration on that meditation object for a long period of time. That is the first property of the first jhana. And then he says, in the first jhana, a person is filled with the rapture and bliss, right? So his internal state is full of rapture and bliss. What does it mean, rapture and bliss? So he says, he describes rapture is more like, a person who is walking in a desert, thirsty for, many days, and then he sees the water. So the kind of joy and the feeling that arises is referred here as a rapture, right? And when person start drinking the water, then the kind of feeling he gets is referred as a bliss, right? So he says in the first stage of jhana, in the first jhana, a person first his mind is stayed with a meditation object for prolonged period of time, and then his internal state is full of rapture and bliss. So that is the first jhana. In the second jhana, he says it arises because of the concentration of the first jhana. So it arises because of the concentration, and in the second jhana, the meditation object subsides. So in the first jhana, the person was focused on the meditation object. In the second jhana, there is no meditation object. The object has been left, and what is left is this pure rapture and bliss. That's all the person is experiencing, right? In the third jhana, which is arised with the understanding of the impermanence, the Buddha says that in the third jhana, the rapture, this joy aspect, this full of joy aspect, is also fades away, and what is left is the bliss with this awareness and equanimity, right? The person is equanimous and aware, and he's experiencing this subtler bliss in the third jhana, right? And in the fourth jhana, this bliss passes away, and what is left is the pure equanimity and awareness, right? So this is like a short introduction of what Buddha meant by 4 jhana, or what Buddha meant by nirvana, right? So these are the 4 stages of nirvana as well. So ultimately the final stage where the person is aware and equanimous is what Buddha calls is the final goal or liberation, right? Now this is different as compared to what generally many modern teachers are teaching, like you are the awareness and don't get attached to things and all these kind of stuff. This is very different than that. And we also need to understand this whole path of awareness was a contribution of Buddha, right? The Buddha was the one who described it, like this is how you can do it. And as we saw, Buddha was very clear in terms of he is not saying you are the awareness and you don't have to worry about whatever is going on in the mind and whatever is going on in the body and that sort of stuff. He laid out path step by step, right? He said you have to first cultivate the wholesome aspect of the mind, and you have to let go of the unwholesome aspect of the mind, right? So in the beginning stage, we need to focus on that. We shouldn't be focusing on like I am the awareness sort of stuff, right? So in the beginning, focus on the this is what Buddha said, that focus on cultivating the wholesome state of mind. Then become aware of your mind and body. And then you will experience step by step what is really the awareness and equanimity is. Otherwise, it's very easy to confuse these subtler teachings with something else, right? Just the word of caution. So this is the 8 step of Eightfold Path, described by Buddha. Amazing teaching, and thank you very much for watching.